See, the problem of most people in the boxing world is that if you say that Terence Bud Crawford is going to get knocked out by Canelo Alvarez, they see that as a disrespect. But in all actuality, I'm saying that Terence Bud Crawford is going to get knocked out by Canelo Alvarez because I have the utmost respect for Terence Bud Crawford. You don't understand it? Oh, what you mean? That don't even make sense. It's because you don't know the history of the sport of boxing. See, ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Hearns versus Hagler was promoted one of the biggest fights in that time. Thomas Hearns daring to be great, to fight the middleweight champion, the middleweight dangerous fighter in marvelous Marvin Hagler. Right? Two of the best fighters of their generation. Two of the four kings. Thomas Hearns came out blazing. I'm not giving a damn who's the bigger fighter. He believed in his skills and his fighting spirit. One of the most respected fights in the history of 100+ year sport of boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, it lasted 3 rounds. Thomas Hearns got flattened. Thomas Hearns got knocked the F out. But you know what? To this day, many in the boxing world respects Thomas Hearns for his efforts, for his warrior spirit. And that warrior spirit, that dog, that savage, is Terence Bud Crawford as well. That's the reason why I have Terence Bud Crawford getting knocked out by an all-time great, bigger fighter like Canelo Alvarez. You may see it as hate. I'm not saying it as hate. I'm saying it as that these are two great fighters, great champions, but it's also a dangerous fight for Terence Bud Crawford versus a seasoned Canelo Alvarez. A seasoned Canelo Alvarez in the 168-pound division. A division that Terence Bud Crawford hasn't been in. Terence Bud Crawford has a long layoff. We saw how the layoff affected him a little bit versus Majamov when he moved up to the 154 pounds division, in which Bud Crawford said himself before the turkey out shake bag was on the table that the 154-pound division is his max out division. And he fought every bit of a fighter, of a great fighter that maxed out in a 154-pound division. You guys see it as hate. It's not hate. It's logical. Logical. Roberto Duran, one of the greatest fighters in the history of the sport of boxing. There are many legends have him in their top 5. Dare to be great to fight Thomas Hearns. He's a dog. He went for it. And he got knocked out in the 2nd round. We call them the kings to this day. As a matter of fact, we shame fighters today for them. Terence Bud Crawford. If you know Terence Bud Crawford and you know Canelo Alvarez, then you will understand exactly my analogy, my assessment, my breakdown, my prediction. Because anytime that Bud Crawford adjusts, when he's not truly outboxing his opponent, right? Like the Sean Porter, or the time with Gamboa, like even Majamov, Terence Bud Crawford adjusts and turns into his alter ego, Bud. And he goes for the gusto. He goes to knock you out. Because Terence Bud Crawford is a killer. He a dog. He's a finisher. He don't adjust like Devin Haney, like he stays away like he did with Linares, or a clinch, or things of that nature, right? He's not like even Keith Thurman when he gets hurt and he's really, trying to survive. And then he'll work you out in the outside, like he did with Sean Porter, right? Like he did with Josecito Lopez. But Crawford adjusts to go for the kill. And if you go for the kill versus Canelo Alvarez, a counterpuncher, a guy that has power, he might not have this kid dynamite power that hits you with one shot and you're done. But everybody that has faced Canelo Alvarez, for the most part, has gotten hurt, has gotten dropped. Canelo Alvarez is one of the greatest punchers of his time. Canelo Alvarez is probably has the best chin in the history of the sport of boxing. He has been there with the biggest punchers of this generation. Killers in their own right. If you go after Canelo Alvarez, you're going to end up, but it's going to end up like Thomas Hearns. But it's no disrespect, because people respected Hagler. People respected Hearns. People respected Duran. People respected Hearns. People respect Canelo. And people will continue to respect Bud Crawford if he gets flattened out. Now, let me tell you the guys that truly don't get the love from the people. William Skull was running, right? People didn't like the way that Jermell Charlo approached the fight with Canelo Alvarez. Knowing the intangibles that Jermell Charlo had, he could have made it a better fight. That's why a lot of people was angry at Jermell Charlo's approach. A lot of people keep saying 90. I hear it. I read it. 98% of the people are saying that Bud Crawford is not going to do what Jermell Charlo did or what William Skull did. So what is he going to do? What is he going to do when he's not truly getting his way all the way, like the Sean Porter? How does Bud Crawford adjust? Bud Crawford has 40 plus fights. He already showed you who he is. And Canelo Alvarez have 60 plus fights. He already showed you who he is. See, why y'all, if I'm not saying you got to agree with everything, but I'm breaking it down unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. See, the things I'm breaking down Terence Bud Crawford because we know what he is and capable of doing. But y'all ignoring what Canelo Alvarez is capable of doing. And that's why some of y'all see it as disrespect. It's not a disrespect. This is boxing. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, and it's probably going to be a draw. All right? That's it. In the end of the day, we truly don't know what's going to happen. That's the nature of the sport, that we don't know. We didn't know that Buster Douglas was going to be Mike Tyson. You didn't know that George Kambosos was going to be Teofimo Lopez. Right? So we don't know. We don't know. So we only could predict it logically, unbiasedly. Because in the end of the day, if you're a hardcore boxing fans, you respect both fighters. They're both great in their own right. This is my humbly opinion. Now, in this community, we could joke around. We could, you know what I'm saying, create the type of content that's really going to entertain the people. That's who I am. I'm comedic and things of that nature. But for the people to understand, sometimes you can't joke around. So this is me not joking around. This is me being totally serious about this. And just like when I joke around, I said that Canelo Alvarez is going to knock out Terence Bud Crawford. I'm saying seriously, if Terence Bud Crawford approaches this fight like Terence Bud Crawford, he's respectfully going to get knocked the F out. Because when Terence Bud Crawford's not having his way, he's going to go for it. And he's going to land in the hands of Canelo Alvarez. Is that hard to understand? I'm respecting both fighters by saying that. That's like me saying that Devin Haney, who knows how to box on the outside and probably know how to survive. If Devin Haney goes out there to try to knock out Brian Owens Jr., just like he tried to do with Ryan Garcia, what you think will happen to Devin Haney? See, it's logical. It's logical. If Shakur Stevenson goes out there and and fights with Gervonta Tank Davis, and he tried to go toe-to-toe with Gervonta Tank Davis, what you think is going to happen to Shakur Stevenson if he doesn't fight to his strength? The thing is, Canelo Alvarez lost to two fighters, and I understand that people want to break down how, there's a blueprint of beating Canelo Alvarez, right? But that blueprint is not the strengths of Terence Bud Crawford. So I can't analyze Terence Bud Crawford like he's Bivol that throws 700 punches. And I can't analyze one of the best IQs in the history of the sport of boxing and the best defense in the history of the sport of boxing in Floyd Mayweather. And I also can't assess that this Canelo is that 23-year-old Canelo Alvarez. I gotta assess that this is the 4th division super middleweight undisputed Canelo Alvarez in the back end of his prime, but still active and still the king of the 168-pound division. And am I breaking it down unbiasedly, logically, and objectively, or there's gonna be people out there in the chat that's gonna just add their feelings to it? No, but it's this man. Stop. You ain't talking to no damn casual. Break it down unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. Break it down with logic. If Terence Crawford would have shown her that he had the intangible to stay away, that he got legs like William Skull, but he ain't gonna get respected like that. Terence Crawford is going to get respected more getting knocked out by Canelo Alvarez than going 12 rounds with Canelo Alvarez. Because if you really look at it, there is no upsides. You don't to going 12 with Canelo. Think about it. There is no like, oh, you become the next star. Deontay Wilder got more respect losing to Tyson Fury the way that he lost to Tyson Fury than any of his wins. If Terence Crawford knocks down Canelo Alvarez and Canelo Alvarez rises back up almost like the Anthony Joshua and Klitschko fight, and then he knocks out Terence Crawford, and then Canelo Alvarez knocks out Terence Crawford, that's a win. That will probably be his greatest victory. I mean, his greatest fight. Not victory, his greatest fight. Just like when we talk about Thomas Hearns. Thomas Hearns, the fight that keeps on playing more than any other fight, is that Hagler and Hearns. And when they play it, and when the people put it on YouTube, when people put it on their X, formerly known as Twitter account, you know what a bunch of the channels be saying? That's one of the greatest fights, yo. We wish that, man. Man, these fighters, Hearns and Hagler, they praise Hearns and Hagler, even though that Hearns got knocked out in the 3rd round. Terence Crawford is a dog. But that doesn't mean that he's a pit bull to Canelo. To us, he may be the dog, a big dog. To Canelo, nothing but a Yorkie, nothing but a Chihuahua. And y'all gonna see it this Saturday. Respectfully.